Members of the panel, I'm Jerry Kremer. I'm chairman of the New York Affordable Reliable Electricity Alliance, New York area. I'm a former state assemblyman. I served for 23 years in the state legislature, and I served as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. I am an author of the power plant siting law, which has not been renewed in New York State, which probably goes to the nub of the problem that we have with providing any type of real power here in New York, with no mission to get any new power online and the need to keep what we have. And I think that the community has to understand that somebody's got to do the tough job. Somebody's got to hear the reports. Somebody's got to do it with integrity and honesty, which you do. And having and as a person who is willing to turn his back on part of the audience, because I've been to a lot of these public hearings in my life, I respect what you're trying to do, and thank you for allowing the First Amendment to be exercised to the fullest extent. This facility, which has had over 10,000 hours of inspection, is of concern to the business community. My question focuses on two reports which were issued in the last few weeks. On April 21, Mayor Bloomberg issued an update to his world-acclaimed Plan New York City Sustainability Initiative, and this is what they stated in this current report. Indian Point's low operating costs help displace generation at more expensive and polluting power plants located inside the city and throughout the state. We also depend heavily on Indian Point for reliability, as congested transmission lines limit our ability to import power from more distant locations. Let me continue with the mayor's report. Retiring Indian Point without replacing at least a portion of its capacity could lead to power system instability. Replacement costs would exceed $2 billion, and New Yorkers would pay the price. 4 days later, the independent system operator, listen, I sat and listened to you. I think I owe the courtesy of you listening to me. 4 days later, the independent system operators, who operates the New York grid, issued their Power Trends report, which warned of violations of reliability standards with impacts that would include loss of power supply and transmission voltage support affecting the metropolitan region if Indian Point were closed. They're also on record as noting that voltage performance would be degraded if the plant closed. There's nothing going on in New York State now with respect to the replacement power for Indian Point or any other facility. My question is whether you review well-sourced reports and whether these findings play any role in your final review of the plant's license renewal application. I'd appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you. We have absolutely no role in that. We don't, cost doesn't factor into our decisions. Basically, we are focused on safety and security. And while I know that there's people who say we're not, I would say that we are under a microscope. Our focus and the mission that's been provided to us by Congress is safety and security, and we are under a microscope. We are under a microscope by the Inspector General, by the General Accounting Office, congressional oversight. And basically, that's what we are measured to. Are we providing adequate oversight of ensuring safety? And basically, we're open. We have laid that out on the public record on our website.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Deborah Malone? No? Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for my opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Dorothy Forcina. I'm Managing Director at the Westchester County Association, Westchester's oldest and most influential business organization. Yes, I'm speaking from the business community's perspective, who keeps very close tabs on what's been going on at Indian Point. We know that Indian Point directly employs 1,100 people, and they're highly paid workers. And in 2008, they were responsible for more than $2 billion in regional gross wages and more than $5 billion in economic development. It also provides $50 million in state and local taxes, without including local taxes and economic stimulus created by the employees. We monitor Indian Point very closely, and our board of directors have been keeping track of their safety record over the last few years with the NRC. We know we're here to discuss safety, an issue that should be rightfully be subjected to the tightest scrutiny and full transparency. That said, I am also well aware that Indian Point has continued to receive your highest accolades in safety and remains part of today's discussion. From our observation, Indian Point has passed a rigorous test of safety and environmental assessment. yet their application has languished for more than 4 years. We believe this fosters instability and the issue should be resolved. Can you please tell us the current state of the license renewal and offer a definitive timeline as to when this issue will be resolved? Thank you.
To answer the question about where we are in the process, staff so far have completed 2 review documents, and what remains is a hearing before a panel of judges called the Atomic Safety and Licensing Board. So there are a number of organizations who are parties to this hearing. Riverkeeper is one, the State of New York is another, and so is Hudson River Slip Clearwater. These issues, it's a legal proceeding. The issues will be argued out before the board. And at this point, the board controls that schedule. So the staff can't give a definitive answer to when the proceeding will be wrapped up. However, the board rules in that. So that's where we are in the process. I think the current schedule is for hearings to begin, evidentiary hearings to be sometime in the December to January timeframe.
Retired Boilermaker. I was the business manager of Boilermakers Local Pride, and I started working in Indian Point in 1968. And I would like to apologize for what I'm going to do, because I'm not really here to speak to the NRC. The NRC has a job to do. I know it's not easy, but I think you're doing your job. I'm here to talk to the people of the area. I'm here to be part of the exchange. So if you don't mind, I'm going to turn the microphone around. Good evening. To start off, I support the relicensing of Indian Point, and I'm going to tell you why. It is unfortunate that we live in a state that the elected officials are unwilling to tackle any kind of problems that we have. And they put us in a position where that even if the individuals at this table here today say, we're going to cede to everything that the majority of the people in this room want, we can't do it. Unless, what we could do, we could start right now, we could turn the air conditioning off. Because what you're going to have to get used to is the shutdown of Indian Point. Let me finish. You're going to have to change your lifestyle. Hey, I'm not going away. I'm just standing here until I have my say, because I listen to everybody else.
Please, let him make his statement. Let him make a statement, and the next person can come up and they can make a statement contrary to that. But let him make his statement, please. Go ahead.
We are in the unfortunate position in this state of having some of the oldest generating equipment in the United States, some of the oldest transmission lines. Unless the state is willing to invest billions of dollars, we are going to have to use Indian Point. That's the truth. I know you don't want it, but that's the way it is.
Hello, my name is Mark Jacobs. I'm one of the co-founders of the Indian Point Safe Energy Coalition. I'm the director of Longview School, and I fight to close Indian Point without being paid for it. I do it because I'm concerned for the health and safety of my family and my community. Indian Point, I listened to your report. Indian Point 2 and 3 were operated safely this year. That's what we should gather from this report. But what does that mean? Undefendable terrorist risk, earthquake susceptibility, impossibility of evacuation, unacceptable accident risk, unfixable leaks, old and degraded equipment. That's what all of the speakers have told you about, and yet you say that it has been operated safely. And you know what? They're right, because they're only saying one thing. There hasn't been a catastrophe yet. That's all they mean. When they're told about the problems in the plant, their answer is, this is David Liu, it is not up to the NRC to decide about using nuclear power. That's a political decision. We didn't ask you about using nuclear power. We told you about the dangers of Indian Point and that you should do your job as a regulator and close it down. And you tell us about political decisions. That's disingenuous. You tell us that we need to respect you and that by standing up and opposing your process where you lie to us and you don't answer our questions, that doesn't show respect. Well, we've shown the highest level of respect tonight by being citizens who came to speak our mind when our respect was needed for something that deserves respect. A moment of silence, you could have heard a pin drop in this room. But for you, you do not get respect. Unless you do the one thing that you should do. Because all of you, every one of you, senior inspectors, minor inspectors, every inspector, everyone for the NRC has been there long enough to know one thing. You are not able to do your job of regulating, working for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. It's impossible. So if you want to do what's right, walk away from the NRC tonight, right now, come sit with us, pick up a sign, and close down Indian Point!
Hi, yes, I'm Susan Shapiro. I'm an attorney who is on the board of Clearwater. I work with IPSEC and FAYS and WestCan. I've been deeply involved in this issue, and I welcome you all here. And I'm glad you're here finally, again, this year, once again, for this assessment where you rubber stamp and say what a good job they did, as Mark just said, as not melting down yet. I wonder where Entergy is tonight, because as usual, they're not around.
Making money.
Oh, they're here? Okay. But I have a question about the NRC. Apparently, it was reported that when the issue at Fukushima first became a problem and everyone became aware of it, the NRC commissioners were locked out of the control rooms and the emergency rooms at the NRC. My question is, has the NRC really become a rogue agency? We've been noticing that for many years, and now it seems you've taken the step to going fully rogue. So, on top of that, the difference between Fukushima and Indian Point and our reactor community is at Fukushima, there's 80,000 people in the 12-mile radius. At Indian Point, within the 10-mile radius, we have 350,000 people. And within the 50-mile radius, we have 20 million people. And the property values in that 50-mile radius are $8.5 trillion. The insurance coverage under the Price-Anderson Act, as you well know, is only $39 million. So who's covering it? We are. Us, the taxpayers of New York State. So you work for us. Your job is to ensure that Indian Point is safe. And when you tell us, go look up the list for exemptions, exceptions, and deviations, and it's not true there are less than 100, I know that for a fact, it's your job to give us that list. We are demanding that list, a complete and full list. You work for us. I want that list within the next 2 weeks.